Novel, Night Without Borders. Chapter 426, Before Heaven and Earth Took Shape. Author, Chen Dong. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Qinming walked with a light step, his face glowing like the dawn even in the darkness of night. Having witnessed the new world, he felt an unbreakable bond with the earth. Did your secluded cultivation go smoothly? Yao Ruoxian asked. She was currently leading a patrol through the southeastern strongholds and giant cities of Great Yu, with large metal mining areas as her primary destinations. It went quite well, Qinming replied with a smile. They had long since left the highlands and were now traversing the snow-covered plains. Though it was clearly early spring, the ice here remained frozen solid. It seems you reaped a bountiful harvest. Yao Ruoxian's group consisted of over 20 experts. Among them was a silver-haired old woman who had reached the Grandmaster level and a short-haired elder with hair like steel needles, who had attained the perfected domain of the fourth realm. The two powerhouses exchanged glances, their expressions shifting as they observed Qinming's effortless stride, wisps of earth essence qi rising from his feet. This young man seemed innately connected to the earth. He walked with minimal effort, as if carried forward by the earth qi itself, a rare phenomenon indeed. Princess, why has he come here to cultivate in seclusion? What extraordinary technique is he practicing? The silver-haired female Grandmaster asked secretly. Yao Ruoxian replied, it's likely the Wuji scripture. The short-haired elder added, that's a renowned extraordinary technique within the five elements domain. The old woman's mind jolted. Could it be? Is he reenacting legends, recreating events from ancient texts in reality? The Grandmaster's vast knowledge allowed her to grasp the implications. What's the situation? The elder asked. The female Grandmaster explained, to perceive the new world and seize the hidden treasure. If I'm not mistaken, he may have obtained the legendary secret manual, the Earth Virtue Scripture. No wonder he's so attuned to the Earth Qi. Such legendary tales are actually manifesting in him. The elder's face showed shock. As a member of the Great Yu imperial family, Yao Ruoxian had been steeped in literature since childhood and possessed an equally broad scope of knowledge. She had long suspected this, and her heart now raced with unease. Knowing Qinming planned to visit the major metal mining regions and even search the seas, she wondered if he intended to unearth multiple hidden treasuries. She transmitted a silent message, both of you, keep this matter confidential. Do not reveal it to anyone. Qinming clearly intended to witness the new world and survey the entire realm, a feat few could accomplish. However, such extraordinary talent, if not properly harnessed, could invite disaster upon himself. The female Grandmaster and the elder nodded, their gazes shifting as they watched Qinming's retreating figure. Their expressions had shifted, whereas they had previously harbored minor grievances, believing that the princess's inspection tour should not have been made to accommodate this youth's chosen route, they now viewed him with a newfound respect. The snow-covered wilderness stretched for hundreds of miles, devoid of human habitation. The rustling pines whispered eerily, and the flickering shadows of Jian flickered in the distance, making this desolate region exceptionally dangerous. Behind the group, an elderly man in a burial shroud silently trailed them, having followed the party for over 100 miles without giving up. He's still there, a guard murmured. Don't speak. Ignore him. Even with a Grandmaster present, night void creatures continued to stalk them, highlighting the severity of the world's current crisis. Soon, an icy chill pierced through everyone's bones. The path ahead suddenly plunged into impenetrable darkness. Then, two red lanterns appeared, suspended in the air, and guiding figures emerged from the gloom. Halt! The female Grandmaster commanded. Something's wrong, the elder warned. We've stumbled into a mystical domain. We're no longer in Night Prefecture, the female Grandmaster declared. This area where reality and the night void overlap. A wave of commotion swept through the group. Yao Ruoxian cautioned, do not make any rash moves. Channel your vital blood energy throughout your body, unleash your pure yang consciousness or heavenly light. Wait until our reality re-synchronizes with the physical world, and whatever you do, do not move from your spots. The two shadowy figures leading the way ahead turned back, against the backdrop of the red lanterns, their gleaming white fangs emitted a faint, chilling glint. From behind, an old man clad in funeral shrouds came charging forward with heavy, thudding strides, attempting to drive the group onward. Boom! Beneath Qinming's feet, the earth qi surged and boiled, sending the old man in the funeral shrouds flying high into the air. The female Grandmaster struck, her pure yang consciousness slashing out like a blade of light. The elder convulsed violently, blood spilling from his mouth as he plummeted into the darkness. Moments later, the area returned to normal. They found themselves back on the snowy plains, though through the mist they could still glimpse crimson lanterns hanging in the distance, and beyond them, the hazy glow of flowing azure fire springs. These aren't ghosts, the female Grandmaster stated. They have flesh, blood, and warmth. Qin paid no heed to those creatures of flesh and blood governed by strange laws. Instead, he fixed his gaze upon the gradually fading red lanterns and the ethereal blue glow. Are there fire springs within the night void as well? He asked. Yao Ruoxian nodded. That's right. Most of them are predominantly blue. Qin pondered, then said, I have a feeling the greatest problem in this world stems from the fire springs. Having studied numerous ancient texts, Yao Ruoxian replied, many have thought the same. Even Earth immortals have traced the fire springs' origins, digging deeper and deeper, but they all eventually abandoned their efforts, leaving the matter unresolved. That day, they traveled 600 miles to the mining district. This vast metal mining area contained a complex array of rare metals used for forging weapons, as well as day gold. In the past, even scattered particles of strange metal had been unearthed here. In recent years, Great Yu had suspended mining operations in this major district, treating it as a strategic reserve. Now that the world was fragmented into isolated islands, the Great Yu imperial family, wary of this vital territory, dispatched members of the royal clan to personally oversee its security. Why is this village so strange? As they approached a pitch-black village, the group felt an unsettling unease. The once vibrant red fire spring had gone dark, and shadowy figures moved within the village. Despite the late hour, many villagers were still awake. Hiss. This is a ghost village. A guard gasped, drawing in the night mist and feeling a chill run through his body. The night void had corrupted this place, too. The entire village had perished, its inhabitants transformed into flesh-law creatures. A truly unbearable sight, the female Grandmaster sighed. Jian roam the mortal realm, while the walking corpses wander aimlessly. Calling these villagers ghosts would be inaccurate. They weren't spectral beings, their flesh still retained warmth, yet they were fundamentally different from their former selves, now imbued with the night void's peculiar laws. Mother, the fire spring is gone. I'm so scared. I want to stay with you, a young child whispered, trembling in the village. A dark shadow approached, seized him, and dragged him into the darkness. Some guards moved to rush into the village and rescue the child. The female Grandmaster shook her head. That's merely his final lingering attachment from life. He's long since perished. At the village's edge, a girl's clear laughter echoed, the final sound in the darkness, as she dissolved into the ink-black void, vanishing into the depths of the night void. Qin sighed softly. Ah, I hope they can live on in another form, in another world. The situation in these remote regions is dire. Yao Ruoxian's heart ached. These were all citizens of Great Yu, yet they had been isolated and left to meet such a fate. Later, they discovered an entire town similarly corrupted, shrouded in pitch-black darkness. Deep within the pitch-black town, at the nexus between the night void and reality, a silver-white light gradually emanated, radiating a sacred aura. It was a creature enveloped in a luminous white divine ring, silently observing the group outside the town. Yao Ruoxian demanded, are you the monster who dragged the entire town into the night void? How dare you endanger so many lives? What makes you think your realm is peaceful, sacred, and tranquil? The creature within the divine ring replied, its voice surprisingly articulate. I am saving them. You slaughtered an entire town and dare to speak of salvation. Yao Ruoxian retorted, her fair face flushed with fury, her eyes burning with the urge to strike down the creature immediately. The hazy being within the divine ring continued, this night-shrouded world is like a sea of suffering. I am pulling them ashore, granting them rebirth on the other side. It's far better than their desperate struggle for survival in your realm. Such demonic lies. Such ghostly nonsense. Yao Ruoxian spat. The creature within the divine ring countered, you were born into suffering yet remain blind to it. Your misguided choices will inevitably lead to tragedy. Just as in your realm, those who choose immortality undergo a transformation of their very being. Few attain true divinity, most become grotesque, monstrous beings. Still trying to deceive us. The female Grandmaster said coldly. The creature within the silver divine ring ignored her, continuing, because you've entered the wrong place. With your backs turned to the immortal ascension land, how can you expect a good outcome? What nonsense are you spouting? The short-haired elder rebuked. The mysterious creature replied, if immortals would simply turn around and enter the night void, everything would change. They would become divinely transcendent, achieving true immortal ascension, free from terrifying and bizarre phenomena. They would escape the sea of suffering and rise above it all. Utter nonsense, the guard captain scoffed. You don't understand, the creature insisted. The sacred realm, what you call the night void, is now merging with your world. This is your opportunity to reach its shores. Those beyond the Jade Capital's influence can only dream of such a chance. In the darkness, the creature within the divine ring was lecturing them, naturally provoking fierce opposition. How many layers does the night void have? Qin asked. The creature replied, how many layers does your mythology say the heavens have? What do you mean? The female Grandmaster's gaze sharpened. The creature within the divine ring spoke, "Consider why the jade capital, which you claim to be supreme, hangs upside down." Outside the pitch-black town, the group fell into a brief silence. Suddenly, from the depths of the night void, an overwhelmingly terrifying spiritual domain fluctuation erupted, accompanied by a tsunami-like roar, "You fugitive dream murmurer! I have found you!" At the same moment, a colossal hand descended, blotting out the sky, engulfing the creature in the silver divine ring, and dragging the entire town away. Silence returned to the empty space, leaving nothing behind. The scene sent shivers down their spines. After a moment, a guard spoke, "The depths of the night void are far more complex than we imagined." The female Grandmaster rebuked, "Don't believe those words. Didn't you hear that colossal creature call it a dream murmurer?" The group retreated from the anomalous territory, the atmosphere among them growing heavy. Finally, ahead, the radiant fire springs came into view. Only the two villages they had seen earlier had been dragged into the night void, meaning the situation hadn't truly collapsed. "Still, something feels off," the guard captain remarked. In a village ahead, demons were roaming freely, their presence marked by chilling screams. Qin Ming, Yao Ruoxian, and their companions rushed forward, only to witness a gruesome scene. An old jackal wolf demon was devouring a human, its upper body bestial and its lower half human. A pale-faced youth lay dead, his chest ripped open. Even in death, his eyes remained wide, his face frozen in terror. Inside the houses, villagers pressed desperately against their door panels, their faces drained of color and their bodies trembling slightly. Even the children's cries had ceased. From within Qin Ming's body, heavenly light erupted, coalescing into a massive hand that seized the jackal wolf demon by the neck, nearly snapping it with a sickening crack. Yao Ruoxian's expression turned icy. "Speak," she demanded. "How dare you commit such atrocities?" For decades, such heinous acts had been unheard of within the Great Yu's domain, an entire village fallen, its people reduced to demon fodder. The guard captain dragged a bear demon from the village, its massive claws stained with blood. "Release us." The old jackal wolf demon and the bear demon snarled, struggling against their restraints. "We are here on the king's orders." The situation was far worse than Qin Ming and his companions had imagined. Many villages and towns in the surrounding area had fallen, with demons roaming freely, enslaving villagers and forcing them to mine. Yao Ruoxian's flawless face was etched with icy fury. Nothing could be more dire than this, the region's order had collapsed, and it had been overrun by demons. Each village was guarded by 2 or 3 demons who led the villagers to the mines daily, each with their own quotas to meet. They acted with impunity, devouring villagers as blood food whenever they grew hungry. With each settlement isolated like an island, the region had descended into such brutal chaos that Yao Ruoxian's killing intent surged. She led her forces through the night, purging the area of its demonic predators. "Speak. Where do you come from? Who is your king?" The female Grandmaster demanded, her silver hair gleaming in the moonlight. Though aged, her heart burned with righteous fury, yearning to unleash a massacre. They soon learned that these demons had been conscripted from the depths of the Great Mountain, and the king they spoke of was an outsider. Currently, the king and his demon horde have established their base in a distant city. Gangjin City lies just a few dozen miles away. In its early days, this area was sparsely populated with villages and towns. However, the discovery of a massive metal ore vein drew increasing numbers of people, gradually transforming it into a bustling city. In recent years, with the cessation of mining operations, Gangjin City's prosperity has waned, falling far short of its former glory. Following the emergence of night void creatures across the land, a consensus emerged: whoever could protect a territory would become its lord. Yao Ruoxian never imagined that this place would be targeted by a band of foreign demons. They seized control of the city not to protect its people, but to exploit its rare mineral resources. The demons enslaved the inhabitants of many villages and towns in the region. Driven by their greed for jade iron and strange metal particles, these demons were ruthless and cruel, treating the villagers as less than human. Some were worked to death, while others were used as food. These foreign demons proved even more destructive than the night void creatures themselves. They deserved to die. The group seethed with righteous fury upon learning of the situation. There might be Grandmaster-level experts among those foreign demons, they soon discovered, their expressions turning grave. The guard captain suggested, to be safe, let's summon reinforcements from the giant city 500 miles away. There should be a Grandmaster there. Yao Ruoxian nodded, personally writing a letter to be delivered that night. We've been traveling non-stop. Let's rest and recuperate tonight. Once reinforcements arrive, we'll scout Gangjin City and hopefully capture all those demons. That night, Qin Ming ventured directly into the mountains. He refused to waste time. While the others rested, he delved into the pitch-black mine shafts. In the deep, silent night, the bottomless mine shafts resembled a gateway to the abyss or the entrance to hell. Qinming immediately sensed something amiss upon entering, the clanking of iron chains and the presence of Jian. Clearly, this place had become a nexus between the night void and reality. Deep underground, he saw eerie blue fire springs and terrifying figures lurking in the shadows. Qinming didn't stubbornly press deeper. Instead, he chose to retreat and move to another mining area. This great mountain was abundant in ancient mine shafts, each radiating a dense metallic aura. Deep underground, Qinming sat in meditation, circulating the golden silkworm scripture. Immediately, an inexplicable energy began to flow through the massive metal mine. He felt as if he had merged with the entire mountain, submerged in an invisible metallic aura. Outside his body, countless golden threads, like silk spun by a divine silkworm, pierced into the mountain walls. They then wove into a dense web, forming a cocoon that enveloped him completely. So the subsequent secret manual is the Silkworm Emperor's golden control scripture. He had successfully entered the new world and claimed the hidden treasure. Now, Qinming found himself in a lush metallic forest, transformed into the Silkworm Emperor. Nourished by the metallic aura, he saw pages of scripture hanging from the branches of a golden divine mulberry tree. Most importantly, he was being nourished by the unique, vital metallic chi of this place, allowing him to accumulate a significant reserve of mysterious spiritual essence. He sensed that he might be able to break through a major bottleneck in this place. There's a high probability I can reach the heart lamp realm, he thought, guided by instinct. Yet, upon further reflection, he felt an ominous unease, a premonition of potential failure. If the heart lamp failed to ignite and the process was interrupted, it could severely damage his yuan energy. Qinming frowned. In his early days, obtaining a single hidden treasure had allowed him to break through a minor realm. But as his cultivation deepened, the barriers between realms grew increasingly difficult to shatter. It seems, as I predicted, I still need to acquire the overturning sea scripture, that secret manual. Qinming focused entirely on comprehending the Silkworm Emperor's golden control scripture. Having glimpsed the new world, he found that cultivating in this unique environment yielded twice the results with half the effort. Outside his body, metallic chi materialized into various weapons, which shot out in all directions. Silkworm threads pierced the void, distorting the very fabric of space. After a long interval, he opened his eyes, his consciousness returning to reality. The entire mine had been reduced to ruins, on the verge of collapse, his body enveloped in a dense layer of the Silkworm Emperor's force. It is time to return, Qinming said, rising and leaving the mine. On his way back, he paused briefly before another massive mine, as deep as an abyss. He saw eerie blue flames and the hazy silhouette of a city within. Are there as many layers in the night void as there are heavens in mythology? He murmured, vanishing from the spot in an instant. We've confirmed it, Yao Ruoxian told him upon his return. The anomalous beings occupying Gangjin City aren't demons native to Night Prefecture. It's highly likely there are old adversaries. With Shallow Knight's arrival, they were even more certain, these were indeed their old enemies, the demon faction they had clashed with on the Divine Lament Plains. During this period, many events had unfolded in Night Prefecture. The demon faction in the far west had long coveted the region, eager to send forces to infiltrate, but they dared not reveal their true identities. For instance, before the fall of Jade Capital, when geniuses from across the other realms entered Earth City, the demon faction had also sent agents in secret. Yet they only dared to lurk in the distance, never daring to show their faces. After the cataclysmic changes to heaven and earth, they saw their opportunity. As communication lines across the land were severed, some among them boldly ventured into remote areas to seize opportunities and other treasures. The guard captain reported, they haven't dared to launch a full-scale invasion of Night Prefecture, only sending a small force. Gangjin City likely harbors one or two demon grandmasters and several elite seeds, possibly including the Jade Emperor himself. So some formidable heavenly demon seeds have indeed arrived. Yao Ruoxian exclaimed in surprise. She was well acquainted with the Jade Emperor, a figure of immense power within the demon faction. Qinming declared, they suffered a crushing defeat on the Divine Lament Plains. How dare they come here to stir up trouble again? Slaughter them all. Hearing this, the others grew increasingly enraged. Their killing intent surged as they recalled how these former underlings now dared to infiltrate the heart of Night Prefecture, exploiting the chaos of the cataclysm to wreak havoc. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, Night Without Borders. Chapter 427, Slaying Demons to See the Sea. Author, Chen Dong. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. The demonic faction was, in truth, a formidable force, rightfully regarded as the sworn nemesis of Yezhou. More than 450 years ago, the two sides had already engaged in a bloody, life-and-death struggle. A year ago, during the battle at Divine Lament Plains, Knight Prefecture had paid a heavy price, losing many senior figures, including the contemporary Tathagata's master, Meng Xinghai's grand martial uncle, and founding ancestors from the immortal path like Wu Zhaoye and Yu Xiaohua. The younger generation suffered equally devastating losses, with top talents like Su Xian, Shui Yunzheng, the Jade Pure sect's young sect leader, and the Qingtian sect's heaven-shaking one all falling in battle. As Qin Ming reflected on these losses, an overwhelming surge of emotion welled up within him. His old friends Lu Junyi and Zhou Ya had perished in the western border, along with Yu Zhensheng's longtime partner Zhao Ziwan and Jin Yuan, the old Grand Master of the Five Elements Palace. These two elders had shown him great kindness and repeatedly stood up for him, only to meet their end on the battlefield. Through the night mist, Yangjin City loomed ahead. Though not particularly tall or imposing, with a population of only a few 100,000, its strategic importance stemmed from the large, rare mineral veins beneath its walls. With a clang, Qin Ming drew his jade iron sword, his hand itching to charge into the city and begin the slaughter. Yao Ruoxian donned her crimson armor, gripped her spear, and radiated a chilling aura. The fact that demons had invaded the heartland of Great Yu, turning its people into blood food and mining slaves, was beyond her tolerance. Our reinforcements have arrived and are fully rested, the female Grandmaster announced. As a major city in Great Yu's southeast, Yuheng City naturally had powerful defenders. This time, an old Grandmaster personally led the reinforcements, riding through the night from 500 li away. It is confirmed, there are 2 demonic Grandmasters within the city. We may proceed now. It was shallow night. 2 teams entered the city from opposite directions, their target, the City Lord's manor. These invading demons had no intention of staying long. After looting the city, they planned to flee, that's why they conducted themselves with ruthless aggression within the city, employing exceptionally bloody methods. Anyone who resisted was immediately killed. Upon their arrival, they had beheaded the entire City Lord's manor guard, the blood flowing out from under the gate and staining the white jade steps crimson. Early the next morning, ox-drawn carts began arriving at the towering manor, which was shrouded in demonic qi. Each cart carried children, who trembled with fear or sat in stunned silence. What is the meaning of this? Most likely, blood food for the demons. They truly are beasts. As the group approached the heart of Gengjin City, they encountered people who seemed numb, and the entire city felt deathly still. It had been such a short time since the demons had seized control, yet this once vibrant and lively city had already been reduced to a stagnant pool. Both demon lords are in the City Lord's manor, Zhou Qing, the female Grandmaster beside Yao Ruoxian, announced. As long as those 2 most formidable enemies were contained and eliminated, everything else would fall into place. Clearly, at the Grandmaster level, perception was exceptionally keen. Even though the group had moved with stealth and concealment, the 2 old demons had sensed their approach. In an instant, 2 pillars of blood-red qi, like plumes of wolf smoke, erupted from the depths of the City Lord's manor, signaling the immense power of their adversaries. Simultaneously, guards beside Yao Ruoxian stepped forward to block the ox-drawn carts from entering the manor. Before the demons guarding the gate could speak, the ox-cart driver snapped, "Who are you? Get out of the way." A burly man on the following cart roared, "Do you have a death wish? Can you bear the consequences of delaying the Lord's meal? How many have we killed these past few days? Yet some stubborn fools still dare to cause trouble. You're just tired of living." At that moment, Qin Ming and his group felt that these people were even more detestable than the demons themselves. Calling them servants of the tiger didn't even begin to describe their depravity. These collaborators were all ruthless, originally members of the city's gangs, far from virtuous. Now, they were responsible for providing blood food to the demons daily, mostly children. Driving ox-carts into the City Lord's manor, they considered themselves 3 classes above ordinary people. Thwack! Qin Ming decapitated the burly man with a single strike, his headless corpse collapsing onto the street. "How dare you!" The other blood food escorts cried out. The guards around Yao Ruoxian instantly charged forward, dispatching them with swift, wet sounds. Audacious! How dare you commit violence before the City Lord's manor? The demons guarding the Vermilion gates finally spoke, having previously watched the scene unfold like a play. Now they realized the situation was dire, these intruders were far more formidable than the usual troublemakers. Female Grandmaster Zhou Qing and old Grandmaster Qi Liancheng from Yuheng City transformed into wisps of smoke, surging into the manor. Sensing their opponents' auras, each locked onto a target. "You!" The demons guarding the gate paled. "Leave none alive," Yao Ruoxian commanded. In an instant, the stone steps before the City Lord's manor were stained crimson with demon blood. An old demon within the manor sighed, "Your noses are truly sharp. It hasn't even been long enough for us to dig up the strange metal particles, yet already skilled warriors have arrived. Several buildings exploded as great demons charged out. Boom. Zhou Qing and Qi Liandao had already engaged two elders in fierce combat. Where they clashed, artificial mountains shattered, and frozen lakes melted into mist, the battle raging with intense ferocity. "They're just two human race grandmasters," one great demon sneered. "Our demon clan has sent elites, not just grandmasters, but also powerful experts in the late fourth realm, and several heavenly demon seeds. We'll slaughter them all. Attack now. Kill these humans first, then assist our two grandmasters." The great demons' faces hardened with cold indifference as they surged forward, demonic chi billowing around them. Having received Yao Ruoxian's handwritten letter, Yuheng City had indeed dispatched formidable reinforcements. Several elders, all in the mid to late fourth realm, joined forces with the royal clan's experts to meet the demon clan's attack head-on. The heavenly demon seeds immediately sensed Yao Ruoxian, recognizing her as the focal point of the human forces. They charged toward her without hesitation. So young. Could she be a top-tier immortal seed? Capture her first. Huh, she's a princess of Great Yu. These demons had all participated in the great battle at Divine Lament Plains, where they had clashed fiercely with the young human elites. The other one. Damn it. It's Qin Ming. Kill him. A demon recognized Qin Ming, his eyes instantly turning bloodshot. Qin Ming had slaughtered numerous heavenly demon seeds, sparking immense fury among the younger generation of demons. These heavenly demon seeds were either in the late third realm or early fourth realm, possessing exceptionally profound Dao cultivation among their peers. Qin Ming turned to Yao Ruoxian. "Leave this to me. Take the others and hunt down the remaining demons." Yao Ruoxian nodded without hesitation. Despite the overwhelming pressure from the combined attack of several heavenly demon seeds, she had complete faith in Qin Ming's combat prowess. The guards were stunned. These were high-ranking heavenly demon seeds, each on par with immortal seeds and divine seeds. "What are you so arrogant about?" One of the heavenly demon seeds sneered, transforming into a silver bear and charging forward with surprising agility. Yet his arrival was as swift as his departure. Before a single breath had passed, his head flew back, leaving only his body to collapse in a pool of blood. Qin Ming stood motionless, the jade iron sword in his hand dripping crimson demon blood. What? Just over a year ago, he hadn't even reached the third realm, and he was only killing low realm seeds. In such a short time, Qin Ming had already become capable of slaying a late-stage third realm heavenly demon seed. The demons who knew of him were stunned, their disbelief palpable. His progress had been far too rapid. Where's the Jade Emperor? Qin Ming's greatest desire was to kill the flying locust beast, a notorious figure among the heavenly demons. Once, he had to avoid it. Today, he was ready to confront it head-on. The heavenly demon seeds exchanged glances before simultaneously erupting into action, converging on Qin Ming with lethal intent. They aimed to eliminate him swiftly. The human youth's astonishing growth rate filled them with dread. If left unchecked, he would undoubtedly become a formidable threat in the future. A red-haired youth, transformed from a fire lizard, descended from the sky, bathed in roaring flames. His right hand shot out, morphing into a colossal beast claw the size of a house, reaching for Qin Ming. A golden-haired youth possessed immense strength, his true form being a golden beast, a royal lineage among giant beasts, exceedingly rare. Once fully grown, these creatures would become terrifyingly powerful. Despite his young age, he had already reached the fourth realm. Beside him stood a white-robed youth, his movements graceful and ethereal, following the path of a demon sword immortal. His true form was a white crane. The three great heavenly demon seeds, along with their followers, abandoned all pretense and directly surrounded Qin Ming, seeking to eliminate him before he could mature. Qin Ming flicked his fingers, releasing a wisp of Nanming Li fire, a faint, almost imperceptible flame that nonetheless pierced through the fire lizard's demonic flames, which had dyed the night sky crimson. With a swift stroke of his sword, he severed the fire lizard's house-sized claw. Ah! The fire lizard, a heavenly demon seed at the perfection stage of the third realm, was stunned by the grievous wound he had sustained in their first exchange. Enduring the searing pain, he cried out, "Everyone, this youth is a monster. We must join forces and kill him today." The fact that the heavenly demon seeds referred to Qin Ming as a monster revealed their deep-seated fear of him. The golden-haired youth wielded a massive, violet-glowing staff forged from pure jade iron, a weapon of unimaginable weight. He had already unleashed dozens of thunderous strikes against Qin Ming. Yet Qin Ming, wielding his lithe jade iron sword, met each strike head-on, blocking every blow. "What realm are you even in?" The golden-haired youth, a giant beast renowned for his raw power, felt his arms numb and throbbing with pain. It defied all logic. "Seventh layer of the spiritual domain," Qin Ming replied. In truth, he had already achieved perfection in the third realm, but he preferred to keep this hidden for now. "The third realm clashing with my divine power." The golden-haired youth was stunned. Even as his opponent, he couldn't deny that Qin was an unbelievable human race monster. He could only believe the legends now. Within the terrifying upright ape demon clan, some individuals possessed unimaginable potential, as if their limits were boundless. The white-robed youth, like the demon sword Immortal Reborn, was also in the fourth realm. Yet even after unleashing over 100 sword strikes, none had landed. The sword light he conjured multiplied further. Finally, he stood within a swirling sword wheel, lunging at Qin with lethal intent. Thwack! The fire lizard's head flew off, decapitated by Qin sword. It was the first to meet its demise. Ah! Next fell the white-robed youth. His body was drenched in blood, his demon sword, originally a bird's beak, shattered, revealing its true form. Not only was the crane's beak severed, but its wings had also been torn apart by the blade's edge. Earth chi surged beneath Qin feet, lifting him high into the air. With a gentle sweep of his jade iron sword, the white crane transformed into a bloody mist, obliterated by the sword's strike. Finally, it was the golden-haired youth's turn. He coughed up mouthfuls of blood as he reverted to his massive true form. Qin slashed him more than a dozen times, his body spurting blood before collapsing into pieces with a thunderous crash. Including the silver bear from earlier, 4 heavenly demon seeds had attacked, and within moments, all lay dead. Their followers fared no better, their corpses littering the ground amidst pools of demonic blood and severed limbs, a gruesome sight. Qin stood alone in the arena, his jade iron sword dripping blood. After a moment, he picked up the glowing purple jade iron staff from the ground, a valuable trophy. Speak. Where is the Jade Emperor? Qin demanded, interrogating the few surviving demons he had captured. The Jade Emperor is practicing his sword techniques using the tidal waves, one demon revealed quickly, while others remained defiant. The sea within the night void. Qin asked, surprised. The Jade Emperor was indeed a remarkable figure. He was engaging with the night void, using its harsh environment to temper his physical body. He had even begun using the night void's vast ocean to hone his sword skills. Qin face lit up with joy. Although Yao Ruoxian had sent people to investigate and found clues about the sea, those regions were far too dangerous. If the Jade Emperor could enter the sea, Qin reasoned, he could approach it as well, allowing him to cultivate and break through the bottleneck of the fourth great realm. Zhou Qing and Qi Liancheng, both seasoned grandmasters, had successfully held their ground against 2 terrifying old demons, even gaining the upper hand. Clearly, once the outcome of the grandmaster-level battle was decided, the entire battlefield's fate would be sealed. Moreover, Qin overwhelming victories, slaying 4 heavenly demon seeds in rapid succession, had thoroughly shaken the remaining demons, crushing their morale and forcing them into a passive defense. The battle was no longer in doubt. By the end, every demon in Gangjin City had been slain. Soon, the entire city erupted in celebration. The numb faces and the children too frightened to cry now erupted in cheers. We thank your highness, the princess, for saving us. An elder, speaking on behalf of the survivors, rushed forward, his lips trembling as tears streamed down his weathered face. Yao Ruoxian helped him up. As a citizen of Great Yu, you have suffered greatly. This is simply what I should have done. Qin had already set out, determined to reach the sea. It was said that the Jade Emperor had long coveted a unique location within Great Yu, the Earth's secret aperture, a place capable of nurturing the body with effects comparable to the mountain river spirit nest. However, the aperture had long since fallen into disuse, now fused with the night void and connected to another world. According to the demons, the Jade Emperor had entered and exited the night void multiple times, proving that some beings could survive the passage. Yet when other demons attempted the journey, they quickly retreated, their physical bodies corroded upon entry, the damage severe. Soon after, Yao Ruoxian arrived with a contingent, determined to eliminate the Jade Emperor. Has Qin already entered? Yao Ruoxian asked. The Thunder King bird nodded immediately. Guarding the entrance to the Earth's secret aperture, it dared not act rashly in the presence of the fourth princess of the Great Yu, for it was Yao Ruoxian who had gifted the bird to Qin long ago. This abandoned Earth's secret aperture lay less than 300 li from Gangjin City. As Qin ventured into the pitch-black mountain depths, he first heard the roar of the sea, then gradually began to discern hazy shapes in the gloom. Along the way, blue fire springs flickered with an eerie glow. He knew he had entered the night void. During this time, his physical body felt like it was being pricked by countless needles, as an inexplicable Tao resonance surged forth, attempting to penetrate deep into his flesh and blood. Qin gradually adapted, continuing his journey deeper into the night mist. Finally, all the scenery became clear. Qin beheld a vast ocean, its towering waves crashing endlessly, while streaks of ethereal blue light occasionally flashed across its surface. Qin was momentarily stunned. Born in the Night Prefecture, this was the first time he had ever seen the sea. The sight before him was truly magnificent. Standing there, he felt acutely aware of his own insignificance. The surging waves roared like 1,000 galloping horses, their deafening thunder shattering the boundary between sky and earth. Moreover, the sea within the night void periodically erupted with blue light that soared into the heavens, merging the sea and sky into a seamless whole. As if sensing his intent, the Heluo scripture began to circulate automatically within him. Though the night void corroded flesh and blood, Qinming knew this was the place he sought, the place where he could break through the heavenly gate and ascend to the fourth realm, the Heartlamp realm. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, Night Without Borders. Chapter 428, The Truth of the World. Author, Chen Dong. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Qinming had never imagined that the Heluo scripture could be this powerful. Standing by the seaside, he rose aloft amidst a radiant glow, surging mists billowed around him, and heavenly light illuminated the night sky. The boundless sea provided him with an inexhaustible source of power. Azure light emanated from the surface, converging toward him like countless streams, lifting him into the air. His wide sleeves billowed, making him appear like a heavenly immortal descending upon the world. A sudden realization dawned upon Qinming. Extraordinary techniques from hidden treasures are never simple. Their true power hasn't been revealed in past battles because I lack the proper environment to unleash their full potential. He grew alert, scanning his surroundings. The Heluo scripture was now operating autonomously, drawing upon the sea's essence. Countless crystalline azure droplets, like extensions of his own body, permeated the air, enhancing his senses and making his spiritual awareness exceptionally sharp. There were supernatural beings nearby, and in considerable numbers. In a sandy burrow along the shore, a sea beaver cat with webbed feet transformed into a sea otter girl with sapphire blue eyes, peering out from her hiding place. In the sea, a colossal golden scale crab, over 3 meters long, raised its golden pincer, secretly making a scissors gesture toward Qinming in the night sky. Lightning arcs coiled around the pincer, resembling a spiritual chain. Beneath the beach, a 7-colored fish lay within a shell coffin, surrounded by auspicious clouds. Its eyes snapped open, and it transformed into a humanoid form, resembling a young sea god, gripping a golden spear. Could it be that these creatures had been deliberately stationed here by someone? In the night sky, a rain of light exploded, and sonic booms reverberated. Qinming vanished instantly from his spot. He had come to comprehend the Tao and had no desire to entangle himself with the creatures of the night void. Eventually, he arrived at a silent beach. Taking a deep breath, he resolved to keep a low profile and quickly reach the new world to claim the hidden treasure. The ocean teemed with boundless vitality, teeming with sea beasts, spiritual sharks, and countless other creatures. Qinming couldn't avoid them all, but he only needed a slight temporal advantage. That place earlier must have been a convergence point between realms. Were those creatures guarding the path to Night Prefecture? Soon, Qinming calmed his mind and began practicing the Heluo scripture, an extraordinary technique, by the shore. Gradually, he was once again enveloped in the ocean's dense essence, accompanied by blue flowing light, as if standing within the pure land of the sea god. As he deepened his comprehension of the Tao and pushed the Heluo scripture to its highest level, the night void's corrosive influence seemed largely neutralized, as if completely walled off. The excruciating pain that had racked his body finally subsided. Waves crashed against the reefs as he slowly merged into this strange, night-shrouded otherworld. In a trance-like state, he thought he saw the very seawater flowing upward, as if countless colossal waterfalls were suspended from the sky, radiating iridescent light. What is this? Qinming gasped in astonishment. Could reality and the location of the hidden treasure be overlapping? He could now faintly discern that new world, a sight worthy of myth. There, the boundless sea stretched to infinity, and he vaguely saw colossal fish like the coon, their length immeasurable, stirring up towering, terrifying waves. In the night void's reality, countless blue fire springs seemed to surge beneath the sea. The entire surface became crystal clear, its intoxicating blue merging with divine light that pierced the depths of the night sky, uniting sea and heaven. A massive hole has opened in the firmament. Qinming was genuinely astonished. Witnessing such a spectacle in reality nearly pulled him out of his meditative state. Instead of cascading waterfalls suspended in midair, the night sky had shattered, pouring down torrents of immortal light and fragments of the Tao, merging with the luminous, surging ocean. Then he saw countless sea beasts and spiritual sharks swimming against the immortal light, following the spiritual chains toward the massive hole in the sky. The sea demons and schools of fish, swimming against the current, swarmed in dense masses, following the waterfalls of shimmering mist. They surged toward the great aperture in the firmament. The fish leaping over the dragon gate. It seems this legend holds true even here in the Night Ruins world. Are they attempting to journey beyond the heavens? Qinming marveled, astonished to witness such a spectacular phenomenon. The seawater churned violently, surging upward as various sea beasts and fish demons raced toward the celestial fissure, creating a magnificent spectacle. Qinming watched as a silver octopus, its tentacles writhing menacingly, climbed toward the massive hole. Bathed in an ethereal, luminous mist, its form began to transform. Staring into the night sky, he murmured, "As long as you have dreams and dare to defy the heavens, to swim against the current, even the lowliest creatures buried beneath the seabed can ascend to become dragons." But as his words faded, spiritual chains in the night sky shattered with thunderous roars, sending radiant fragments scattering like sparks and electric arcs crisscrossing the heavens. The leading octopus was torn apart, and the swarm of sea beasts behind it shattered into pieces, staining the sky crimson. Watching the carnage, he remarked, "It exploded after all. A pity you weren't a true descendant of dragons. To ascend to the heavens, you must first undergo the heavenly tribulation." Only a handful of fortunate creatures managed to evade the luminous shards and swim above the massive hole. The vast majority of marine life perished in the desperate scramble, resulting in a catastrophic slaughter. Amidst this chaotic environment, the Tao resonance fluctuated violently, severely disrupting Qinming's meditative state. He temporarily withdrew from his enlightenment. He captured a spiritual conch demon from the sea and resonated with its emotional waves to uncover the truth of this place. "Huh! How is this possible?" he exclaimed in shock, his light of the mind surging wildly. The creatures here had no concept of the night void. In their minds, this was the first layer of heaven. To the native creatures of this realm, the anomalous phenomena in the sea signified the opening of the path to heaven. The fortunate few could ascend against the seafall to reach the second heaven. There are 36 heavens in total. Qinming's heart remained in a state of profound agitation for a long time. The night void was completely different from anything he had imagined. He recalled the words spoken by the being within the silver divine ring in the night void corroded town, and his thoughts drifted into a daze. How could the myths and legends of Night Prefecture align with the night void? Qinming wondered. He found it not only absurd but also deeply unsettling. According to the myths and legends, the heavens consist of 36 layers. Yet even with gods and immortals possessing extraordinary power in Night Prefecture, none have ever discovered these 36 heavens. In the night mist world of reality, blessed lands exist on the surface, capable of birthing earth immortals. Hidden within the 9 heavens are grotto heavens, which, in their uncorrupted, complete state, could give rise to heavenly gods and heavenly immortals. Different regions of the 9 heavens correspond to gale winds that can scatter human consciousness, immortal fire that incinerates humanoid deities, and terrifying thunder and lightning. Beyond the 9 heavens lies utter mystery, a realm completely unknown except for the Jade Capital, which hangs high above. Yet the Jade Capital hangs upside down. Having glimpsed a fragment of the truth within the night void, Qinming now gazed at the intricate patterns of the real world, momentarily lost in thought. The seafall collapsed, shattering the immortal light and spiritual chains. The magnificent miraculous scene vanished, and the Tao resonance ceased its turbulent agitation. Qinming immediately practiced his extraordinary technique, entering that special state once more. A new world unfolded before him, a divine ocean stretched across the horizon, the back of a colossal coon beast floating upon it like a drifting continent. Finally, he plunged into the seabed, entering a luminous, colossal palace. The palace was constructed from extraordinary materials, radiant red coral, warm and lustrous sea beast bones, translucent pearls of various hues, and crystalline seashells. Found it. The overturning sea scripture. Qinming exclaimed with joy. This secret manual was inscribed on snow-white seashells. He flipped through the shell pages, extracting the hidden treasures with unwavering focus. This cultivation technique wasn't created by the human race, Qinming realized. The overturning sea scripture originated from a great sage of the Zhao Flood Dragon clan and serves as their fundamental scripture, yet it is a path open to practitioners of all races. Having learned the scripture's origins, Qinming recalled how many otherworld races referred to humans as upright ape demons, suggesting deep historical interactions between their peoples. Within the Coral Palace, he meticulously studied the overturning sea scripture. He couldn't deny that this secret manual was significantly more challenging than his extraordinary technique. Soon after, he rose and approached a 5-colored seashell containing a shimmering blue liquid, a spiritual substance extracted from the essence of the sea. The 5-colored seashell was enormous, and Qinming settled directly into it. The intoxicatingly blue liquid, fragrant and nourishing, revitalized his essence chi and consciousness, making him feel as if he had returned to the womb. Bathing in the azure liquid, Qinming shed the fatigue from deciphering the scriptures. His body warmed, as if undergoing a primordial transformation, returning to his innate state. Suddenly, his senses sharpened, his hair standing on end. He felt a looming danger, his spiritual clarity state amplifying his perception. Not good. There's danger in the real world. Something's about to happen. Qinming scanned the palace, confirming he had claimed all the opportunities within. He immediately gathered the glowing blue liquid from the massive seashell and returned to reality. Qinming realized the danger was imminent, someone was trying to obstruct his path to enlightenment. The moment his heart sounded the alarm, his spirit and flesh resonated. Drawn by a powerful force, he swiftly began his return journey, vanishing with a whoosh. Qinming's consciousness re-entered his body, merging spirit and form into one. The instant he returned, a snapping sound echoed within him, like divine chains binding his fourth realm were shattering. After claiming 3 hidden treasures, comprehending the secret manual, and accumulating power to this day, he was now forcefully breaking through the barrier. Qinming hadn't deliberately attacked the barrier between the great realms. The moment his spirit and flesh resonated, he shattered the heavenly gate in a single surge. His body burned with heat as his constitution underwent a profound transformation, signaling the imminent onset of a violent nirvana process. Simultaneously, he sensed an anomaly. Someone was spying on him and rapidly approaching, heading straight for his location. Qinming frowned, his expression turning icy. He rose to his feet, surveying the creatures converging from all directions, realizing he was surrounded. Concealing his true state, he allowed his flesh and spirit to undergo awakening while scanning the uninvited guests. Jade Emperor. He recognized instantly. Among the pair approaching from the front, the man with sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes exuded extraordinary charisma, none other than the Jade Emperor, the demon faction's most exceptional prodigy. The woman beside him wore 5-colored battle armor and carried the 5-colored divine sword on her back. Her waist-length hair shimmered in a water blue hue, her skin was as smooth as jade, and her dark eyes sparkled with intelligence. Tall and slender, she stood nearly as tall as the Jade Emperor. The woman spoke in a clear, melodious voice, another anomalous one. He's just arrived here, yet he's already immune to the Tao resonance's corrosive effects, able to cultivate directly, and he seemed to have entered a state of sudden enlightenment earlier. Though she spoke in the Sea clan language, completely different from the language of Night Prefecture, the fluctuations in her consciousness allowed Qinming to understand her meaning. Princess, should we report this person to the Heavenly Maiden as well? From another direction, a cat-eared girl with sapphire-like eyes approached with feline grace, her large eyes blinking. Qinming immediately recognized the sea beaver cat he had encountered earlier. The blue-haired woman, clad in 5-colored battle armor, nodded. Besides them, a massive, scaled crab emerged with a horde of sea demons. It brandished its giant pincers, making scissor-like gestures at Qinming. From another direction, a youth transformed from a 7-colored fish, wielding a long spear, led another group of sea demons to encircle Qinming. The youth stared intently at Qinming, sniffing the air. His gaze gradually intensified as he declared, "This anomaly carries the scent of the essence of the Great Sea, upon him, a fragrance that speaks of something extraordinary. He has harvested some astonishingly rare medicinal treasures from the depths of the ocean." The youth turned to the blue-haired woman in 5-colored battle armor. "Senior sister, what do you think?" There was no doubt that this group held an extraordinary status. The blue-haired woman leading them was none other than a princess of this sea region. The sea beaver cat and golden scale crab served as her trusted lieutenants, while the 7-colored fish youth was her junior brother. "It's you." The Jade Emperor's eyes turned icy as he glared at the figure before him. The moment Qinming broke through his cultivation barrier, his physical body and spirit began to resonate, undergoing a nirvana-like transformation that passively restored his true form. The Jade Emperor's killing intent surged. His younger brother, Huang Fei, as well as his cousin, had both been slain by Qinming. Had he not been blocked by the top-tier, immortal seeds, from the Night Prefecture side over a year ago, he would have long since dealt a fatal blow to this sworn enemy. "Do you know him?" the blue-haired woman asked, tilting her head. Her tone toward the Jade Emperor was remarkably affectionate. "Yes," the Jade Emperor nodded. "He killed members of my family." Instantly, the Sea Clan princess, with her long, aquamarine hair, turned to Qinming. The smile vanished from her beautiful face, replaced by a frosty gaze. Qinming spoke up, "I slew my opponents honorably on the battlefield. How can you accuse me of harming your family?" The youth who had transformed from a 7-colored fish immediately chimed in, "Senior sister, since he's brother-in-law's enemy, let's just take care of him. He carries precious medicine from the sea, enough to grant us nirvana once." The cat-eared girl countered, "But the Heavenly Maiden issued a divine decree, all anomalous ones who cross over from the night mist world must be brought before her." Hearing the name, Heavenly Maiden, the blue-haired woman grew wary, her resolve wavering. "What exactly is the Heavenly Maiden's background?" the Jade Emperor asked. Her status is unattainable, her nobility ineffable, and her origins are of a magnitude that shakes the very heavens, the blue-haired woman replied after a moment's hesitation. Then she whispered, the core region of the East Sea has been frozen since ancient times. It only thawed recently, and from within emerged a woman of peerless beauty. According to the Sea Clan's senior experts, the heavenly maiden likely originated from the 30th heaven or higher. During the ancient war, she fell into the East Sea, near death, and remained frozen until this era, when she finally awakened. The miraculous scene we witnessed, a massive hole tearing open in the second heaven, pouring down immortal light and spiritual chains, was likely caused by the heavenly maiden herself. The Jade Emperor's heart trembled. Such a being was truly terrifying, either an ancient powerhouse resurrected or a chosen one from antiquity, possessing a supreme treasure, recovering from grievous wounds. Eliminate him. The blue-haired woman declared, drawing her 5-colored divine sword and pointing it at Qinming. Qinming needed more time and didn't want to undergo awakening in the midst of battle. Your actions defy the heavenly maiden's will, he countered. The Sea Clan princess glanced at him, smoothed her blue hair, and addressed the others, though both are anomalous ones who have broken through, they harbor mutual hatred. Even if we bring them before the heavenly maiden, one will inevitably die in combat. Let's eliminate him now. She extended her slender jade hand, pointing at Qinming. Agreed. The sea beaver girl and the golden scale crab nodded in unison, accepting the command. The youth wielding the golden spear grew particularly excited. What are we waiting for? Capture him and seize the precious medicines he harvested from the sea. What is his strength? The blue-haired woman asked the Jade Emperor beside her. Qinming sighed. This battle was inevitable. Fate truly favored some over others. The Jade Emperor was no ordinary man, he had not only withstood the Night Void's corruption but also seemed to have earned the favor of the princess, hinting at a potential marriage into the Sea Clan. Qinming, also considered an anomalous one, had arrived too late. The blue-haired woman in her group had already secretly decided to ruthlessly eliminate him. The Jade Emperor spoke, just over a year ago, he hadn't even reached the third realm. He was only fit to spar with my sword slaves. Qinming retorted, stop boasting. Today, you'll share the fate of your former sword slaves, you will be beheaded. The blue-haired woman turned her gaze upon him and said, outsider, I apologize. As things stand, you're not qualified to meet the heavenly maiden. We prioritize the stronger, those with exceptional talent. Eliminating you now is of no consequence. Qinming drew the divine measuring ruler, forged from the 9 lifetimes tree. Its pitch-black body shimmered with an ancient, faint light. He declared in a deep voice, those who obstruct my path today shall all perish. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, Night Without Borders. Chapter 429, Breaking Through the Fourth Realm and Slaying the Enemies, 2 chapters combined. Author, Chen Dong. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. The youth who had transformed from the 7-colored fish smiled faintly. To dare utter such arrogance on the shores of the sea, before the descendants of the gods, your courage is, indeed, commendable. His name was Hai Chengyu, and his smile was clearly not meant as praise for Qinming's audacity. As a descendant of the sea god, he carried himself with considerable pride, his chin slightly raised and a hint of disdain in his eyes. Qinming gripped the pitch-black divine measuring ruler, his gaze sweeping across the night void creatures. He hoped the impending battle wouldn't disrupt his breakthrough to the fourth realm and his awakening. Why haven't you attacked yet? Hai Chengyu demanded. Offer him as a sacrifice to the sea god. He remained aloof, issuing orders to the sea beasts and spiritual sharks lurking in the surging waves. The Jade Emperor had previously informed him that Qinming's cultivation realm was unimpressive, barely worthy of contending with his sword slave. Hai Chengyu felt that personally engaging in combat would demean his status. Moreover, despite his sense of superiority, he harbored no genuine arrogance or carelessness toward this visitor from another realm. Instead, he preferred to test the waters by sending his subordinates first. Blue streaks of light occasionally flashed through the waves, the vast ocean both mysterious and profound. Numerous strange creatures leapt from the depths, lunging toward Qinming with murderous intent. A sea monster weighing over 10,000 jin, its slimy tentacles wrapped around a massive hammer, unleashed a terrifying sonic boom with each strike. Swarms of flying fish, like dense formations of flying swords, pierced through the night sky. Giant sharks opened their blood-red maws, while sea monkeys wielding massive clubs charged across the surging waves. Along the shore, the Sea Clan's numbers were staggering. They conjured 20-meter-high tidal waves, creating a deafening tsunami. The cold glint of underwater weapons flashed ominously. Qinming remained calm and indifferent, standing motionless against the dozens of towering waves that could obliterate villages. With a gentle forward slash of the divine measuring ruler in his hand, a blinding golden line sliced through the night mist. The towering waves split in two, and the surging ocean behind them parted as well. The tsunami, once like a stampeding army, suddenly froze. All sound vanished, and the ocean solidified in an instant. Then, a series of splashes echoed through the air as the charging sea creatures disintegrated, cleaved apart by the golden line. The frozen scene shattered, and the thunderous roar of the tsunami returned. But the 10,000 Jin sea monsters, the flying sword-like fish demons, the ferocious sea monkeys, and all the rest lay severed in two, their blood staining the crashing waves crimson. A brief silence fell over the scene. The blue-haired woman, the cat-eared girl, and the golden scale crab all froze, sensing that this young man was far from ordinary. Hai Chengyu, the youth transformed from a seven-colored fish, tightened his grip on his golden spear, frowned, and turned to the Jade Emperor. Brother-in-law, is this the upright ape demon you said hadn't even reached the third realm yet? He suspected the youth already possessed the strength of the fourth realm. The Jade Emperor replied, this is unexpected. In just over a year since we last met, he's already reached the late stages of the third realm. He must have encountered significant opportunities during this time. Qinming had not yet unleashed his full power, he was still in the midst of an awakening, his body burning with heat. He was unsure whether an unrestrained burst of power at this stage would result in any negative repercussions. The blue-haired woman, Yun Shuyu, furrowed her delicate brows. As the princess of this sea region, her judgment was keen. She now realized this human youth truly deserved to be called another anomalous one. Yet she stood by the Jade Emperor's side, her orders already given to subdue the youth. Even if she rescinded the command now and sent him deep into the heavenly maiden palace, it would be difficult to earn his goodwill. With a wave of her hand, a swarm of sea monsters surged from the waters behind her. Gunfish darted through the waves, their movements creating the illusion of countless spears piercing the surface. As the sea urchin army emerged, their densely packed quills stood poised to unleash a barrage of projectiles, a truly oppressive sight. Your Highness. The cat-eared girl hesitated, her voice trailing off. Though she was the blue-haired woman's right-hand woman, she revered the heavenly maiden even more. Do you want me to retract my words? Yun Shuyu, the blue-haired woman, tilted her head, her gaze unwavering. She made it clear, the matter had reached this point, leaving no room for alternative choices. Senior sister, I support you. Hai Chengyu declared loudly. His primary concern was the precious medicine Qinming had harvested from the sea, he could clearly sense its powerful life force. Yun Shuyu nodded. She believed the Jade Emperor, with his superior cultivation realm and extraordinary talent, far surpassed that human youth. With her bias firmly in place, the choice required no further deliberation. Qinming remained calm and silent, making no offensive moves. He was currently undergoing nirvana, and the longer the confrontation dragged on, the more advantageous it would be for him. Unfortunately, though his opponents were unaware of his critical breakthrough, they had no intention of granting him any respite. Take him down. Yun Shuyao issued the command in a calm, measured tone. A massive horde of sea monsters roared, churning the ocean into towering waves that surged toward the night sky like an inverted sea. Amidst the crashing foam, scales, claws, and fangs glinted menacingly. Shu Yao, let me handle this, the Jade Emperor declared. As the one with a personal grudge against Qinming, he naturally wanted to settle the score himself. His pride as one of the demon clan's elite heavenly demon seeds demanded he personally avenge his brother and cousin's deaths. Moreover, with so many Sea clan members watching, hiding behind others would inevitably invite criticism, painting him as a weakling. His ambition was vast, aiming for unrestricted passage between realms. To establish his authority here, he couldn't afford to tarnish his reputation. The Jade Emperor soared into the air above the shore, a radiant divine ring blazing around him. This was no ordinary halo, it was sword-like coalescing into a magnificent sword wheel that enveloped him entirely. In an instant, the entire coastline blazed with light. The Jade Emperor rose like a scorching sun, his sword light erupting in oppressive waves that swept toward Qinming with lethal intent. Qinming wielded the divine measuring ruler, drawing a gentle arc. The supreme Sumeru domain expanded, while the golden crow knight illuminating sword's murderous aura surged skyward, intercepting the dense barrage of sword light. The sandy beach erupted in explosions, sending grains of sand flying in all directions. Even the towering cliffs and sheer rock faces that had withstood raging waves shattered into fragments under the combined attack of sword light and sword intent. A massive cliff face was cleaved apart, crashing into the sea with a thunderous roar and unleashing a colossal wave. The Jade Emperor's pupils constricted. His opponent hadn't been instantly beheaded, instead, he had blocked a wave of attacks from the natural sword intent radiating from the Emperor's body. To him, such a result was utterly unacceptable. Just over a year and a half ago, in that deep autumn, this human youth's cultivation realm had been far below his own. Yet now, in this early spring, the youth's realm had soared to a level that demanded the emperor's full attention. The Jade Emperor's eyes deepened, and the sword intent surrounding him intensified, blazing with blinding brilliance. Dozens of golden beams erupted from his body, streaking across the night sky like a meteor shower trailing dazzling tails of light. Qinming shifted and dodged like a phantom in the abyss, darting left and right to evade most of the sword beams. Within his body, the transformation grew increasingly violent. He could already see the nascent form of his heart lamp, a faint light beginning to glow. He exhaled in relief. This fierce battle hadn't disrupted his breakthrough into the great realm. Perhaps he could now unleash his full power. At that moment, the expressions on the faces of the Sea clan beings shifted. Though the Jade Emperor appeared dominant, with the human youth evading his attacks, the latter showed no signs of being overwhelmed. Yun Shuyu, the blue-haired woman, felt a jolt of realization. Had she misjudged him? Could this second anomalous one rival even the Jade Emperor? Attack! She commanded silently. Having made her decision earlier, there was no room for hesitation now. It was too late to change her mind, they were already enemies. The massive crab with golden scales was the first to respond, leading its forces into battle. The sea behind it instantly churned into a boiling frenzy. Yun Shuyu retrieved a pristine white spiritual conch and blew into it. This exotic treasure, forged from the remains of an ancient sea senior, radiated nine-colored light, sending layered ripples spreading across the water. Qinming was astonished, his very consciousness seemed to rise and fall in rhythm with the sound, leaving him susceptible to its influence. The sea beasts in the vicinity were driven into a frenzy. As if utterly heedless of their own lives, they surged toward Qinming in a suicidal charge, billowing with thick, demonic energy. Hai Chungyu's golden spear struck like a lightning bolt, ambushing the upright ape demon youth who had far exceeded their expectations. The Jade Emperor wanted to speak up, confident he could handle this opponent alone without their assistance. But the Sea clan had already committed to the fight. He couldn't dismiss their goodwill, asking them to withdraw now would be disrespectful. The Jade Emperor chose to go all out, aiming to immediately subdue Qinming and crush him decisively. This, he believed, was the best way to end the conflict. Buzz. Before Yun Shuyu's crimson lips, the pristine spiritual conch glowed with even greater sanctity. Its Tao resonance intensified, sending layer upon layer of shimmering waves rippling forward, severely disrupting Qinming's focus. The golden scale crab, the cat-eared girl, and a horde of sea monsters charged forward, their weapons and techniques engulfing Qinming in a storm of attacks. Seizing the opportunity amidst the chaos, Hai Chungyu quietly activated his exotic treasure. A shell coffin materialized, its strands of mystical light snaking out to lock onto Qinming. Overjoyed at his success in launching a surprise attack in such a complex environment, Hai Chungyu whispered, "Bind." As Qinming was drawn into the strange, shell-crafted coffin, he violently swung the divine measuring ruler, instantly cracking the coffin's surface. Hai Chungyu urged, "Senior sister, quickly activate your golden shell furnace and refine him with the Nanming Li fire." Yun Shuyu's keen eyes had already spotted the opportunity on the battlefield. Without waiting for his prompting, she opened her mouth and spat out a golden pill that erupted in radiant light. In an instant, the pill expanded into a blazing inferno, its golden flames illuminating the surroundings like a scorching sun. The coffin was swallowed whole by the fiery vortex. Qinming shattered the shell coffin and sensed the aura of the divine fire. His heart stirred, this flame shared the same origin as the Nanming Li fire scripture he had cultivated, leaving him utterly unfazed. This is it. Hai Chungyu laughed. Even though this human youth was exceptionally formidable, far exceeding the standard, now that he was trapped within a mystical artifact and subjected to the ceaseless incineration of divine flames, he could not possibly escape his ultimate demise. Growing excited, he exclaimed, "He carries the essence of the sea. Now that we're refining it with the Nanming Li fire, we might produce a batch of water fire grand elixir. We've finally captured him." The other members of the Sea clan cheered in unison. Only the Jade Emperor felt humiliated. The princess had captured the youth, denying the opportunity to slay the foe with his own hands. Yun Shuyu smiled at him. "I know you're stronger than him, but he's still an anomalous one." To avoid any unforeseen complications, it was wiser to deploy a mystical artifact and subdue him directly. Hai Chungyu urged, "Senior sister, hurry and refine the elixir in the golden shell furnace." Inside the treasure furnace, bathed in flowing golden radiance, Qinming remained calm. The Nanming Li fire posed no threat to his body. He patiently awaited the completion of his nirvana. At this moment, the multiple spiritual domains he had cultivated were merging and intertwining, forming a dense, interconnected network that permeated his flesh and extended beyond his body. At that moment, Qinming's spiritual domain, now perfected and harmonious, resonated with his physical body and rapidly merged with it, forming a flawless cycle. Within the human body reside three life fires. When these are illuminated and unified, they form the nascent heart lamp. As Qinming's spiritual domain and consciousness domain resonated and merged into perfect harmony, 3 clusters of firelight appeared above his left and right shoulders, as well as above his head. The radiant brilliance of his spiritual domain and consciousness domain forced these 3 life fires to converge, transforming into a single lamp that illuminated his entire spiritual domain, consciousness domain, and physical body. Amidst the dazzling flames, the heart lamp slowly ascended, its light both brilliant and sacred. It purified spiritual power, nourished his flesh and blood, and illuminated his Tao path. The initial formation of the heart lamp was merely the first step. Having broken through the Great Realm barrier, achieving this stage was already considered remarkably smooth progress. Simultaneously, Qinming felt his body burning as if about to combust. His awakening process intensified and accelerated, causing his vitality to surge explosively. This transformation is proceeding faster than anticipated. He had already discerned the reason. Within the golden shell furnace, he was being tempered by the Nan Mingli fire, which shared the same origin as his own. Leveraging this power, he circulated the corresponding fire scripture to refine the precious medicine nurtured by the essence of the sea. Having discovered the new world and claimed its hidden treasure, Qinming had brought back an extraordinary blue liquid. With the aid of the divine fire within the golden shell furnace, he was rapidly absorbing it. Qinming's flesh, blood, and spirit were undergoing a swift nirvana transformation, even his heavenly light was evolving. This was a complete rejuvenation, extending his lifespan. Something's wrong. He's not dead yet. Yun Shuyu, the master of the golden shell furnace, sensed the anomaly. The figure seated within the furnace was growing increasingly radiant. She wasn't refining medicine, instead, she seemed to be forging a golden body for him. What's happening? The Jade Emperor asked. Senior sister, let me help you refine him. Hai Chengyu stepped forward. Rumble. The golden shell furnace shook violently, nearly slipping from Yun Shuyu's control. To her horror, the figure inside had risen, wielding a pitch-black treasure ruler that cracked the furnace walls. Damn it, he's breaking free. She shouted out. The rare Nan Mingli fire stored within the furnace was dimming, having been absorbed by Qinming. The furnace's spiritual energy rapidly waned, emitting cracking sounds. With a trembling hand, Yun Shuyu hurled the furnace away. The golden shell shattered midair with a deafening boom, scattering into fragments as a youth wreathed in golden radiance emerged unscathed. Qinming had completed his breakthrough, officially entering the 4th realm, heart lamp, and having undergone a complete awakening from head to toe. In this moment, he felt as though he had seized control of his own destiny. The weakness stemming from his previously lower cultivation realm was finally being remedied. 4th realm. The Jade Emperor's expression shifted dramatically. At this juncture, Qinming could no longer conceal his spiritual aura. In the final throes of his violent transformation, his entire being became translucent and radiant. Brilliant celestial light illuminated the night sky as waves of immense power surged outward. The Jade Emperor stared in disbelief. His opponent was not merely in the mid to late stages of the 3rd realm, his advancement had been far more explosive than the Jade Emperor could have ever imagined. It had been less than a year and a half, yet Qinming's cultivation realm had already caught up. Transparent sword wings materialized on either side of the Jade Emperor's body, and he dove toward Qinming like a bolt of thunder. The blinding sword wheel had already detached from his body, condensed into a miniature sun-radiating sword intent, and hurtled toward Qinming. This time, Qinming didn't evade. Having reached the 4th realm, he could now face his enemies with composure and dignity, no longer needing to retreat even before the demon clan's most elite heavenly demon seeds. Perhaps, from now on, many of his former opponents would be the ones forced to avoid his edge. With a thunderous crash, he swung the pitch-black divine measuring ruler, striking the dazzling sword intent sun and shattering it instantly. The Jade Emperor's expression shifted repeatedly. This was one of his trump cards, yet his opponent had shattered it with a single strike. He vibrated his transparent sword wings, unleashing hundreds of sword beams like a torrential downpour or a thunderous storm, all aimed at Qinming. He followed the path of the demon sword immortal, renowned among the demon clan as a peerless genius with overwhelming offensive power. Now that he had unleashed his full might, the spectacle was naturally terrifying. However, the Jade Emperor's heart pounded violently, he felt an intense, unsettling unease. When his hundreds of sword beams landed, his opponent didn't evade. Instead, a 5-colored light wheel materialized around Qinming, rotating seemingly slowly but grinding every sword beam into nothingness. At this moment, the techniques Qinming employed were no longer mere extraordinary techniques, but the 5 great secret manuals, from the Sustaining World Scripture to the Silkworm Emperor's Golden Control Scripture, and the Overturning Sea Scripture. Though all shared the five elements attribute, the resonance between the five great secret manuals far surpassed the power of their former fusion as extraordinary techniques. Sizzle. Qinming swung the divine measuring ruler, unleashing a five-colored divine light that clashed against the Jade Emperor's protective sword wings with a clang. The impact sent tremors through the Jade Emperor's body, his face flushing crimson as he nearly coughed up blood. Sparks flew from his sword, leaving a massive gash that nearly snapped the sword blade in half. This. Princess Yun Shuyao's pupils constricted. The young man from the upright ape demon clan far exceeded their expectations, he was overwhelmingly powerful. What are you waiting for? Princess Yun Shuyu shouted, mobilizing a massive wave of sea monsters to attack. Her heart churned with unease. This second anomalous one was even stronger than the Jade Emperor. Yet, at this point, she no longer had a choice. Kill. The air crackled with murderous intent as they converged on Qinming. Although Hai Chengyu, the golden-scaled crab, and the others were stunned, they did not hesitate to strike. Today was destined to be a contest of supremacy, a battle to the death, and only a bloody struggle would suffice. PFF'd. Qinming swung the divine measuring ruler, unleashing heaven-severing sword intent. In an instant, Hai Chengyu's right hand, still gripping his golden spear, was severed from his arm and exploded in midair. Ah! Hai Chengyu screamed in agony. The battle had only just resumed, yet after a mere exchange of blows, he was already maimed. He felt a mix of terror and rage as he cried out, "Brother-in-law! Jade Emperor! Is this the low-level cultivator you spoke of, the one fit only to contend with your former sword slaves?" He couldn't even bring himself to call him brother-in-law anymore. In this dire situation, the Jade Emperor's past claims seemed utterly laughable, the information completely mismatched. PFF'd. The Jade Emperor retaliated with all his might, desperately resisting, but after the divine measuring ruler unleashed a beam of five-colored divine light, he was instantly pierced through, suffering a grievous wound. Hai Chengyu's heart sank. If you can't even defeat him yourself, how could you possibly control a sword slave-level upright ape demon? You're lying. You've deceived us all. He scrambled backward at lightning speed, attempting to leap into the sea. Yet, escape was impossible. Qinming glanced back coldly, the divine measuring ruler sweeping across, PFFT. The sword intent erupted, a beam of light slicing through the air like a bolt of silk, and cut Hai Chengyu in half at the waist. Hai Chengyu let out a piercing, wretched scream as he crashed onto the sandy beach. He could not escape, his life hung by a thread. Princess Yun Shuyu's face paled. In an instant, she summoned 4 exotic treasures, all exceedingly rare and powerful weapons. Yet against Qinming's current strength, these treasures were utterly insignificant. With a wave of the divine measuring ruler, 5-colored divine light surged forth, shattering them one after another. Qinming slashed downward with the divine measuring ruler. Though Yun Shuyu dodged with all her skill, a searing beam struck her. She gasped, her right leg severed and falling onto the shore, blood gushing from the wound. At the same moment, the cat-eared girl was sent flying backward. She tried to intervene, but a sword of light pierced her abdomen, leaving a terrifying, blood-soaked hole that went straight through her body. The golden scale crab extended its scissor hands, its massive claws glowing with thunderous energy. But Qinming simply flipped his hand, bringing the divine measuring ruler down with a resounding crash. The golden scale crab's thunderous energy shattered, and one of its massive claws exploded into fragments. In the sea, hordes of spiritual sharks, sea monkeys, 8-armed sea beasts, and other sea clan creatures charged forward. Yet as Qinming's 5 elements light wheel expanded, the waves became littered with severed limbs, giant claws, fish heads, and other gruesome remains. The sea clan creatures perished in droves. The Jade Emperor's arrogance was completely shattered by Qinming's relentless attack. Already severely wounded, he couldn't breach Qinming's 5 elements light wheel. No matter what techniques he unleashed, he couldn't harm his enemy. In the night sky, he continued to gather power, his entire being glowing with pristine clarity. He seemed on the verge of transforming into a radiant immortal sword, radiating terrifying sword intent before finally slashing downward. Yet, Qinming merely swung the divine measuring ruler with brute force, sweeping it across the 4 directions. In its wake, his various adversaries met their fates, some slain outright, others left maimed and broken. Hai Chengyu exploded into pieces, while the golden scale crab and Yun Shuyu were simultaneously bisected at the waist. The Jade Emperor let out a muffled groan, his blood staining the night sky as he was diagonally cleaved in 2 from shoulder to waist. At this moment, Qinming, having broken through to the 4th realm, resembled a young demon god, sweeping aside all enemies in his path. Suddenly, he gazed up at the night sky, then turned his eyes toward the vast ocean. Whether within the depths of the sea or high above in the firmament, scenes of profound shock and awe were unfolding. The world of the night void revealed a completely different facet of itself, one that left even Qinming utterly transfixed. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, Night Without Borders. Chapter 430, The Other Side of the World, 2 chapters combined. Author, Chen Dong. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. The night deepened, and a thick fog had rolled in. The blue light that had danced across the turbulent waves gradually faded, and the sea grew somber. Sea monsters and spiritual sharks fled in terror, sensing some catastrophic event unfolding. Qin Ming could scarcely believe his eyes. In the increasingly dark waters, coffins floated, headless corpses bobbed, and even tombstones drifted with the currents, their earthen mounds intact, refusing to sink. What's happening here? Qin Ming felt the atmosphere shift abruptly, becoming eerie and unpredictable. Though the night void lacked a sun, its earlier impression had been one of tranquility. The luminous blue sea had even evoked a sense of peace. How could it have transformed so drastically in an instant? Deep night has arrived, the heavily wounded cat-eared girl murmured, her voice tinged with anxiety and unease. Qin Ming glanced at her, catching the expression on her pale, delicate face. He realized that the night void's stark contrast and sudden transformation were tied to time. As the blue fire springs in the deep sea waned and extinguished, the world seemed to shift. The ocean turned pitch black, and bizarre phenomena began to surface. Scene after scene of horror surfaced from the depths. The sound of children's innocent laughter drifted across the waves. Amidst the spray, infants, standing over a foot tall, scrambled across the water, and there were countless of them. Between the infants, many heads bobbed with the waves, some belonged to adult men and women, others to unknown creatures. Some were bloodied and contorted in agony, while others were disheveled and nearly decomposed. Some infants, plump and rosy-cheeked, wore pure, innocent smiles. Yet they crawled atop blood-stained heads, giggling incessantly under the night mist as they splashed the water. Coffins, headless corpses, and tombstones, some colossal, were occasionally lifted by massive waves, casting vast, eerie shadows in the faint blue glow. A shiver ran down Qin Ming's spine. He realized he knew absolutely nothing about the true nature of the night void. He raised his gaze toward the night sky, a realm that proved equally terrifying and unfathomable. The pitch-black firmament appeared shattered in places. Through these rifts, amidst the dense fog, strange things emerged, drifting shadows, falling heads, and figures in mourning attire. Blood poured down from the celestial fissures, staining the world crimson. Qin Ming stood transfixed, his mind reeling, utterly unable to regain his composure. This world harbored even more bizarre anomalies than the night prefecture itself, phenomena that, for the moment, defied all comprehension. Earlier, when Qin Ming learned that the night void had 36 heavens, he had many speculations. This was mainly because, in real-world myths and legends, there were 36 layers of heaven, yet no trace of them could be found. Moreover, the so-called Supreme Jade Capital, which was supposed to be at the highest point, was actually hanging upside down. All these contradictions inevitably led to countless doubts. Now, with a corner of the sky shattered, human heads falling, blood flowing, GN shadows swarming, and coffin lids crashing down, the scene was truly terrifying and bizarre. The myths and legends of Night Prefecture could never have been so bloody and grotesque, everything was far too absurd. Could the flesh and blood law creatures discovered in Night Prefecture have originated from here? Qin Ming wondered. If so, the native creatures of the night void seemed to endure even greater hardships than humans, living in a hellish existence where terror lurked everywhere. The difference between shallow night and deep night in the night void world was simply too vast. On the beach, the golden scale crab, severed at the waist, tried to silently escape into the dark ocean. Suddenly, the remaining half froze. Qin Ming had turned around and fixed his gaze on it. The massive golden crab's scales clattered as it raised its remaining claw, making a scissor-like gesture and waving it at Qin Ming in a desperate final attempt. Qin Ming extended 2 fingers, and 2 blinding beams of heavenly light shot forth, severing the golden scale crab's massive golden pincers. He spoke, posing a question: does that rift in the night sky, where the darkness has shattered, lead to the second heaven? How would I know anything about the second layer of heaven? The golden scale crab roared in agony. In that case, depart peacefully, Qin Ming said, his 2 fingers pinching the air. With a crack, the golden scale crab shrieked as its hardened carapace shattered inch by inch. It desperately wanted to roar, but who could die peacefully in such agony? Even its consciousness' spiritual light was severed, its consciousness domain utterly incinerated by the heavenly light. Yun Shuyu's water-blue hair was stained with blood, her face deathly pale. Having already lost a leg to Qin Ming's earlier strike, she had now been bisected at the waist. She collapsed onto the sandy ground, a wretched and pitiful sight. As a princess of this sea region, Yun Shuyu had lived a life of unparalleled privilege. Never before had she experienced such torment, her fall from grace swift and absolute. Regret gnawed at her heart. Why hadn't she obeyed the heavenly maiden's orders, instead acting on her own whims? Her arrogance had led her to this wretched fate. Had she abandoned her prejudice and refused to side with the Jade Emperor, she would still be a noble lady, high above the fray. Do you know anything about the second heaven? Qin asked, glancing at Yun Shuyu and then at the shattered sky, seeking the truth behind the night void. The Sea Clan princess bit down on her silver teeth. Though she desperately wanted to live, she knew nothing about the upper heavens. Suddenly, her composure crumbled. She saw the human race youth picking up her severed legs and then her lower torso. Qin fingers glowed with 5 elements divine light as he gently waved his hand. The so-called legs transformed back into their true form, a vibrant, multicolored fishtail. At the same time, he collected the golden scale crab's severed claws and other parts. These were extraordinary ingredients, perhaps even a type of sea medicine. Even if he couldn't bring himself to eat them, he could give them away, to people, dogs, rats, or birds. I'll send you on your way, too, Qin said, raising his hand to end the Sea Clan princess's life. Come at me instead. The Jade Emperor shouted, his upper body, severed at the shoulder, floating in midair, dripping with blood. His face was as pale as gold paper, devoid of color. In a deep voice, he said, this bloody battle started because of me. Let her go. At this critical moment, he showed unexpected courage, stepping in front of Yun Shuyu to protect her. The Sea Clan princess's eyes immediately reddened as she gazed at the Jade Emperor's retreating figure, her heart aching with sorrow. Qin sighed and said, it was clearly you who made the first move, attempting to snuff me out. So how is it that, in the end, you've managed to spin the narrative to make me look like the villain? The Jade Emperor, now reduced to a single arm and his body dripping blood, said grimly, she was originally an outsider to this conflict, she intervened only for my sake. I beg of you, show mercy and let her depart. Qin expression remained calm. She entered this conflict to help you, yet she led the Sea Clan in an attempt to kill me. What right do you have to ask for mercy? You made your choices, committed your crimes, and must now pay the price. Your pathetic pleas mean nothing to me. Clang. Sword light erupted from the Jade Emperor's body as pure yang power blazed fiercely. In the night, Qin black hair danced in the wind, his presence ethereal as an immortal. You don't think you can drag me down with you, do you? I haven't struck yet because I wanted to ask, have you obtained the demon clan's supreme true scripture? Long ago, the demon faction invaded Night Prefecture for a deeper reason than mere conquest. Their supreme treasure had fallen into the hands of a mysterious civilization, forcing them to act as the vanguard for their masters. Moreover, after the conflict concluded, legend held that their supreme true scripture would manifest within the consciousness of 9 destined heavenly demons. Qin hadn't forgotten this. Having once disguised himself as Demon One, and mastered some demon clan techniques, he believed he might also be able to access the supreme demon scripture. A look of anguish crossed the Jade Emperor's face. He had once come close to the true scripture, his consciousness blurring as if someone were whispering profound truths in his ear. Tragically, he had only caught fragments of the scripture's meaning, failing to grasp its essence. This missed opportunity had once pierced his heart with unbearable pain. The Jade Emperor wasn't among the 9 demons. Even now, the memory stirred his resentment, his heart seething with anger, bitterness, and despair. He was a failure, eliminated at the most critical moment. This was the fundamental reason he had traveled so far to Night Prefecture during this era of rapidly deteriorating circumstances, essentially, a retreat to a foreign realm in defeat. Seeing the Jade Emperor's expression and sensing his intense emotional turmoil, Qin understood the situation. Somewhat disappointed, Qin said, I had hoped to use you as a stepping stone to cross the river and gain access to the supreme demon scripture. It's a pity you were eliminated. What a shame. Hearing this, the Jade Emperor's heart sank further, his chest tightening with anguish. It was as if Qin had deliberately ripped open his wounds. Simultaneously, rage surged through him. He desperately wanted to retort, what business is the demon clan's true scripture to you? You're just a human race brat. What's there to regret, you demon-haired fool? Knowing his chances of survival were slim, the Jade Emperor unleashed his pure yang power with all his might. Thousands of layers of sword chi erupted from every pore of his body, each strand radiating blinding sword light. Dense formations of sword Dao runes materialized before him, coalescing into a heaven-shattering sword beam that slashed toward the seemingly invincible human race youth. Qin boldly struck out with his left palm, unleashing a torrent of 5-colored divine light. With a thunderous roar, he shattered the sword intent that would have terrified ordinary mortals. The Jade Emperor coughed up a mouthful of blood as his mangled body was sent flying backward. Qin expression sharpened. Sensing a subtle threat from the night sky above, he instinctively swung the divine measuring ruler in his right hand upward with a resounding boom. It was a demon sword, crimson and blood-stained, wreathed in wisps of heavenly fire and coiled with strands of heavenly light. Its power was terrifying beyond measure. Qin Ming spoke, the legendary powerhouse of the demon clan, the beast sword immortal, left behind a technique, and you've already grasped some of its secrets. Legend has it that the beast sword immortal's flying sword hung perpetually above the thick clouds, absorbing spiritual light from beyond the heavens to nourish the blade, maintaining a symbiotic connection with his body. When unleashed, the sword's power shook the heavens and earth, drawing down meteorites and celestial debris to obliterate opponents and raze giant cities as if they were mere trifles. The Jade Emperor, of course, lacked such profound cultivation and couldn't tether his sword beyond the heavens. Instead, he concealed it within the night mist above his head. Moreover, he had yet to find a suitable indestructible sword embryo. The sword he had suspended within the night mist was a heart sword, forged and nurtured solely through the power of his will. Its cutting edge was honed from the very essence of his pure yang consciousness, a form that lent itself perfectly to concealment, making it exceedingly difficult for others to detect. In this critical moment, a matter of life and death, he had gone all out, unleashing his single most powerful sword strike. Yet reality proved cruel. The Jade Emperor's radiant pure yang sword, which had cleaved through the night mist with its indestructible edge, met a devastating blow, shuddering violently. Qin Ming's divine measuring ruler struck upward into the night sky, unleashing a torrent of light and terrifying sword intent that sent the heart sword into violent tremors, its brilliance rapidly fading inward. The Jade Emperor roared, unleashing the heart sword he had nurtured with pure yang essence, a weapon forged through the cultivation of his very life force and his ultimate trump card. In an instant, every pure yang consciousness spark within his body erupted upward, abandoning his physical form to merge with the demon sword hanging in the night sky. He had no choice. In this final, desperate moment, he had to fight with every ounce of his being, clashing head-on with his opponent. The sea blazed with terrifying sword light, illuminating the churning blue waves and revealing the coffins, severed heads, burial mounds, and infants beneath the surface with stark clarity. The demon sword hung horizontally in the night sky, continuously unleashing divine radiance that grew ever more brilliant. Its light cleaved the beach, carving terrifying sword marks into the nearby cliffs and stone crags, which then shattered and collapsed. The seawater boiled as the sword light pierced through it, sending massive plumes of steam billowing into the air. White mist surged, and portions of the seabed were exposed. This strike channeled all of the Jade Emperor's essence chi and spiritual energy, forging the most terrifying killing sword he could possibly unleash. He had placed himself in mortal peril, gambling everything on this final, desperate gamble. There's some skill here, Qin Ming remarked, his expression grave. A formidable heavenly light erupted around him as the 5 sacred demonic essences transformed into tangible forms, converging upon the heaven-measuring ruler. The vermilion bird, wreathed in terrifying divine fire, and the white tiger, gleaming with cold metallic light. The 5 elements sacred demonic essences manifested in their entirety, each colossal and boundless, dominating the night sky. Yet they ultimately condensed, coiling around the heaven-measuring ruler. Qin Ming swung the treasured ruler, and the 5 elements sacred demonic essences resonated in unison, dimming the demon sword, which had reached its peak state of sublimation, until it lost all its luster. Then, with a crackling sound, the Jade Emperor's demon sword shattered, its surface fracturing into countless fissures, on the verge of exploding. The Jade Emperor's eyes dimmed, his essence chi and spirit completely absorbed by the demon sword. His entire being flickered like a candle in the wind, his consciousness on the verge of extinguishing. He felt utterly powerless, his despair overwhelming. After more than a year, even his most desperate efforts were no match for this young man. In that moment, the demon sword he had nurtured with his heart shattered into fragments. The Jade Emperor's heart turned to ashes, his consciousness spiritual light threatening to extinguish along with the demon sword. Qin Ming had no intention of letting him die immediately. He found the beast sword immortal sword implantation technique remarkably powerful and wished to study it. You are indeed formidable, Qin Ming praised, his tone encouraging. Even within the 4th realm, you withstood my various attacks and endured until now. That's truly remarkable. Qin Ming's words weren't entirely insincere. The Jade Emperor's final sword strike had forced him to resonate the 5 elements sacred demonic essences with the 5 great secret manuals, a feat worthy of such praise. However, the Jade Emperor was so enraged that he nearly vomited blood. Was this opponent praising him or merely boasting about himself? Despite exhausting every ounce of his strength, even burning himself to the limit, he hadn't managed to draw a single drop of blood from Qin Ming. Was this human youth mocking and ridiculing him? Sensing the Jade Emperor's emotions, Qin Ming spoke again, his words carefully chosen. These are words spoken from the bottom of my heart. Your sword path is, in truth, a truly remarkable and peerless technique. It allows one to envision the magnificent bearing of the beast sword immortal in days gone by. As the Jade Emperor reflected upon the beast sword immortal's peerless techniques, a genuine sense of regret and frustration welled up within him. Had he only managed to find a suitable sword embryo, a vessel worthy of housing such power, perhaps he might have stood a chance today. In the end, I have lost. His eyes lost their light. Considering we've been fighting all this time, and despite being gravely wounded by me, you still cling to life. You have ample reason to be proud, Qinming remarked, once again bringing up the sword embryo vessel and even offering a critique of its strengths and weaknesses. The Jade Emperor's consciousness spiritual light flickered violently, his eyes regaining some of their former brilliance. Was this human youth treating him like a mere stepping stone to elevate himself? Was everything just a ploy for self-aggrandizement? Yet something felt different. The human youth seemed genuinely earnest, his expression serious, suggesting he wasn't a shallow person. In the end, the Jade Emperor realized that Qinming's confidence stemmed from a profound self-assuredness, a sense of self-worth that dwarfed even the arrogance and conceit of the Sea clan and himself. He pondered. The human race youth didn't seem to be insulting him, but rather stating facts with earnest solemnity. As the Jade Emperor considered this, his heart filled with suffocating resentment. The youth was looking down on him with utter seriousness, as if all this were perfectly natural. PFF'd. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Regarding the beast sword immortal's techniques, Qinming continued, guiding the conversation and provoking his opponent, unwilling to let him die prematurely. In the end, Qinming felt quite satisfied. He had successfully deciphered a legendary secret technique of the demon clan, a truly massive gain. Damn you. Just before drawing his last breath, the Jade Emperor realized that Qinming had been using him to glean insights into the way of the sword embryo vessel. He was consumed by a burning rage, wishing he could flay his opponent alive. With a sigh of deep regret, he whispered, "A year ago, I let slip the perfect opportunity to kill you. How I regret not seizing that chance." The Jade Emperor continued to vomit blood, his eyes glaring fiercely at Qinming as his consciousness spiritual light gradually faded. Qinming mused that with his pristine white otherworldly short sword, forged from extraordinary materials, he wouldn't need to worry about finding a suitable sword embryo to practice the beast sword immortal's ultimate technique. He lowered his gaze to the pristine white flying locust beast, now manifesting its true form, and understood why it was called the Jade Emperor. It was indeed special, clearly distinct from its younger brother and cousin. Without a doubt, the Jade Emperor possessed a rare and precious prodigious blood within his body. Qinming collected the Jade Emperor's severed body, unwilling to waste it. He turned to the Sea clan princess and said, "It's your turn now." Yun Shuyu felt a bitter regret. One wrong choice had cost her everything. This anomalous one was even stronger than the Jade Emperor. She had only known the Jade Emperor for a short time, so deep affection was out of the question. However, when he had shielded her earlier, it had stirred something within her heart. As Qinming raised his hand to end her life, he suddenly paused and said, "Come out." From the seawater emerged a young man with long, flowing blue hair and piercing eyes. Radiant divine light swirled around him, making him appear like a sea god walking ashore. He carried a long spear and looked to be around 27 or 28 years old, though his deep-set eyes hinted at an age far beyond his appearance. "Cousin." Yun Shuyu's face lit up with joy, sensing a glimmer of hope for survival. Qinming spoke again, "There is one more. You, too, come out." On the other side, a middle-aged man in silver armor emerged from the sea, his long blue hair flowing with a powerful chi mechanism. He strode forward, radiant sea god runes blazing from his flesh, his cultivation profound. "Sixth uncle," Yun Shuyu exclaimed, overjoyed. The young man turned to Qinming and said, "You dare linger here so late, even after discovering our covert arrival, and you haven't fled. Your courage is commendable." Then, he declared sternly, "Release my cousin." Qinming remained calm and composed. When one has confidence, fear is irrelevant. You're merely in the fourth realm, it's you who should be fleeing, not I. Barely entered the fourth realm, yet you dare to act so arrogantly. The young man retorted, instantly attacking with a thrust of his spear. Though the middle-aged man remained silent, he too launched his attack. Azure sea god runes erupted around him as he charged forward, wielding a long saber. Swoosh. With a sweeping palm strike, Qinming unleashed a surge of heavenly light, decapitating Yun Shuyu in a single motion. Her beautiful head rolled across the sandy beach. The two Sea clan experts erupted in fury, unleashing even more terrifying divine power. Qinming never underestimated his opponents. After taking a deep breath, the five elements light wheel around him blazed with dazzling brilliance, enveloping him completely. The five great secret manuals resonated in harmony, amplifying the resonance with the five types of sacred demonic essence. What's this? The Sea Clan's young expert felt a tremor in his heart. During the fierce battle, he noticed that after being struck by the five-colored light wheel, the moisture in his body was rapidly draining away, and he couldn't stop it. Our five elements are out of balance. The middle-aged man's expression also changed drastically. He, too, was dehydrating, and the pure yang fire within his body flickered violently. This is the true power unleashed when the five great secret manuals resonate. Qinming murmured to himself. When the five secret manuals merged, resonating in perfect harmony, they could control the five elements. By seizing the opportune moment, he could disrupt his opponent's elemental balance. White mist billowed from the Sea Clan experts' bodies as their blood seemed to boil and their flesh withered, leaving them both shocked and terrified. Soon, the two Sea Clan experts were enveloped by the light wheel surrounding Qinming. Their five elements were thrown into chaos, and they were ultimately suppressed and killed. Qinming turned to the severely wounded sea beaver cat and said, "Go tell the heavenly maiden that I harbor no disrespect toward her. Today, I was targeted and forced to retaliate." The sea teemed with spiritual sharks and sea monsters, but many had already fled. Qinming couldn't possibly eliminate them all, so he deliberately spared a Sea Clan creature of some status. This was mainly because the cat-eared girl had shown great respect for the heavenly maiden and had opposed Yun Shuyu's targeting of the second anomalous one, earning her Qinming's mercy. As for actively venturing into the deep sea to meet the heavenly maiden, Qinming would never do such a thing. All this was merely a convenient precaution. Should they ever cross paths, he wouldn't be caught off guard, having laid the groundwork today. The heavenly maiden had been frozen since ancient times. She was either a resurrected ancient powerhouse or a chosen one from antiquity, recovering her injuries with a supreme treasure. Qinming regarded her with deep wariness and would never provoke her proactively. Subsequently, he began to pick and choose among the spoils, effectively stocking up on supplies, gathering a vast quantity of seafood, which might just as well be classified as rare marine medicinal ingredients. Between the night sky above and the vast ocean below, the sight of floating coffins, grave mounds, and infants was truly bizarre and terrifying, a spectacle that stirred a profound sense of unease in the hearts of all who beheld it. Qinming did not linger, he swiftly departed the scene and vanished into the distance. The fourth realm, at last. Knight Prefecture, I have returned. To my old rivals, and to those who sought to make a move against me from the shadows, now, it is your turn to be wary and cautious. What exactly did you go through in the night void? How did you manage to bring back such a massive haul of extraordinary seafood? Fourth Princess Yao Ruoxian of Great Yu, who was waiting with her entourage at the Earth's secret aperture exit connected to the night void, stared in astonishment. In the dead of night, Qinming had actually invited them to a seafood hotpot. Her expression shifted to puzzlement. This doesn't resemble any Sea Clan creature. The flesh is as white as jade, and the long legs are covered in thorns. Ah, you mean this? It's the Jade Emperor's leg, Qinming replied with a smile. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel.